Hello and good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, as you know that we have been talking on big data since our previous 3 sessions, and today also we are going to discuss on big data. Today specifically we are going to talk about Hadoop. We are going to discuss what basically Hadoop is. So dear friends, I would like to tell you all that for this very discussion we have again with us in our studios Dr. U.S. Pandey. Dr. U.S. Pandey is Associate Professor in Department of Computer Sciences, School of Open Learning, University of Delhi. Dr. U.S. Pandey has immense experience in the field of academics, as well as he keeps on visiting various countries for sharing and exchanging knowledge. So I believe that his experience would be beneficial for us in understanding this topic, that is big data, under which we are going to talk about Hadoop today. So without wasting any time, I would like to welcome our guest, Dr. U.S. Pandey. Dr. Pandey, welcome to the EduSec lecture.
Thank you. As we have discussed earlier about the big data in detail, now today we are just planning to discuss about the Hadoop, the software which is going to be used for big data. Just you can see what Hadoop is. An open source software, a framework that supports data intensive distributed applications licensed under the Apache Volume 2 license. So Hadoop is a software, as we have just mentioned here, it's an open software. The technical meaning is that anybody can use it. As you know, there are a lot of softwares which are of open source, that nature. You can download it, you can customize according to your requirement, and you can make use of them. So Hadoop is also one of the software which used for the big data, and you can make use of this and take the benefit of this. What another thing is going to be? What is the goal and the requirements of this Hadoop? The abstract and the facilitate the storage and the processing of large and rapidly growing data sets, structured and non-structured data, simple programming model. As we have discussed earlier about the nature of the big data, that amount is very large. A huge data sets are going to be there. Those data need to be stored, and here the basic goal, the basic objective to use the Hadoop is that it can store the structured and non-structured data. Any different type of data sets can be easily stored into this. The simple programming model is available, so that it is not going to be a very difficult task for anyone to handle it, and that is the basic objective to use this Hadoop is. Now Hadoop have high scalability and availability, which is the most important thing about a database. Use commodity, the cheap, you can say, hardware with the little redundancy. In other words, even if you have to a small architecture, a small hardware based computer system, you can do it. The fault tolerance is going to be there, which is a very important again feature of a software. The database management software, a move computation rather than data, which I have just told you earlier about the features also. Here the computation of the data is again very fast. So what I mean to say, the Hadoop is having almost all the features which is required to handle a big data, to require store the big data concept, different type of data, whether it is structured or unstructured. As we have mentioned, a simple programming model is going to be there. Easily it can be used with the smallest software, the smallest kind of hard requirement which is going to be there. Utilizing the technique, as we again putting scalability and high availability is going to be there. Now you can see here that the Hadoop framework tools, simply you can see here that the applications, query, analytics, reporting, statics, The orchestral framework is this kind of connectors, HBase, Chukwa, Flume, Zopkeeper, and you can see here the big and all this. The data storage framework, SDFS, the data processing framework, MapReduce, JVM, the operating system, be a Linux, Delphi P server and different type of things. Here you can see the backup recovery, deployment, security, management. So, the Hadoop framework tools are going to be here, and you can understand how this framework tools are working. Exactly that operating system Linux and the data storage framework and the data processing framework MapReduce and data access framework have been defined here. So, this is the framework of the Hadoop tools, where the backup recovery, deployment, security and management is going to be there. Now, Hadoop's architecture, after the framework, the goal and other things, we discuss about the Hadoop architecture. The most important thing is it's distributed with some centralization. The main nodes of the cluster are where most of the computational power and storage of the system lies. The main nodes run task tracker to accept and reply to MapReduce task, and also data node to store needed blocks closely as possible. As we have just discussed, in the Hadoop architectures, it is very much defined that how the nodes run the task tracker to accept and reply to the MapReduce, so that the data processing take place very easily. Now, again the central control node runs name node to keep track of HDFS directories and files, and job tracker to dispatch compute task to the task tracker. The architecture written in Java also support Python and Ruby. Here, as we have just seen, that SDFS directories and the files, and the job tracker to dispatch compute task to task tracker, so that data processing become very fast and easily data can be handled. The software which is written in Java also support Python and Ruby. So, it's, as we mentioned, it's an open software, open source software which can be easily downloaded and it can be customized according to the requirement. Now, Hadoop's architecture, you can see here that the word switch. Here we give this, define the switch name node, job tracker, secondary name and switch client, and here the things which have been added together. So, rack 1, rack 2, rack 3, rack 4, and in the same way racks are going to be there. You understand the different DN and different TT, everything have been included in that. So, this kind of way of the structure of this Hadoop database, and by this way easily the data can be handled, stored, can be manipulated. In other words, data processing is going to be very fast, the accessing of information is going to be very fast in this way of the structure. In Hadoop's structure, as we have mentioned, HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System, tailored to needs of map reduce, targeted towards many reads of the file stream. As we have told you about the Hadoop architecture, this kind of file system and the tailor's need to the map reduce is going to be there, and it is targeted towards many reads of the stream. So, which makes this architecture more strong and handling and processing of this data easily. Name node, the name node which we have discussed stores metadata for the files like the directory structure of a typical file system. You may be already knowing, like the directory structure of the typical file systems are going to be there. Here the name node stores the metadata for files. The server holding the name node instance is quite crucial, as there is only one. Another thing is the name node, which is an important thing, is about that. The transactions log for the file deletes or adds, etc., does not use transactions for whole blocks or file streams, only metadata. Again, we would like to mention you here the transaction log for the file deletes and not. Here none other transactions are used for the whole blocks, only metadata. Handles creation of more replica blocks when necessary after a data node failure. Imagine that is why in the big data concepts this architecture is more useful. You can handle, you can create lot of replica of the different blocks and other things, so that it becomes easy to use, easy to handle the data. Another about data node. Data node, what is the use of data node, how it functions? Data node stores the actual data in HDFS, Hadoop data file system. The actual data is going to be stored in data node. It can run on any underlying file system. It could be extension 3x4, HDNF, any, etc. The data node notifies name node of what blocks it has. It is very important in the way the data node notifies the name node. The name node replicates blocks 2 multiplied in local racks and 1 multiplied elsewhere. So, that is the job of the data node. Structure, what is, as we have mentioned, it notifies the name node of what block it is having, and it replicates the blocks in different multiplications. The writes are more costly. High degree of data replica, 3x by default. No need for RAID or normal nodes. As we have just discussed in the Hadoop architecture, it is so strong that there are many things are not required, because the way of handling is entirely different. As we have mentioned that the high degree of data replica is going to be there, and no need of RAID or any other normal nodes. Now, large blocks In this size, the block size are large, usually 64 MB. The location awareness of the data node in the network. The location awareness of the data nodes are going to be there in the network. So, easily in the Hadoop architecture, you would be able to know about all those things. Here you can see the map reduce engine, how it functions, how it used. You can see here that the client program, submit job, the job tracker, and here the different DFS data file systems are going to be there. M1, M2 and M3 task trackers. The task trackers have been put here, and you can see here how it functions, that map phase and the reduce phase. The DFS R1 and R2. The M1 which is coming M1, M2 and M3, after doing this job tracking and all, you will be able to know the output file 1 and output file 2. You can see here the task taker start and doing the out kind of segment. So, this is a map reduce engine, starting with your client program, submitting the job tracker will consist each and everything, then put it to there in the different task trackers, and then it will divide the task, and automatically you can see here that the map phase and the reduce phase are going to be there. Ultimately, you will be able to get that output files. So, this is how the map reduce engines are defined here. Now, here you can see that map reduce engine in a different way, that the name node, which is the metadata, name, replica, home, food, etc. you can define. That meta OPS, the client, read, the data nodes client. You can see here that the replica of that, the data nodes in rack 2, blocks are being created. So, how that this client rack 1, rack 2, after reading that, write this, and you will get that exact detail. So, this is how a map reduce engine works. Another map reduce engine architecture basically try to understand. The map reduce engine, two things which you have just discussed, job tracker and task tracker. Job tracker's job is to split up the data into small tasks, that is map, and send it to the task tracker processes in each node. Now, here again I am putting underlying that the job trackers split up the data into smaller tasks, or we call here maps, and send it to the task tracker. Those small tasks are sent to the different task tracker processes in each node. That is the job of the job tracker, and the task tracker reports back to the job tracker node and reports on the job progress, send data, that is reduce, or request new job. So, here you can see the function of the job tracker and the task tracker. What job tracker do, that it split the tasks or they split the data into smaller tasks, which have been known as map here, and sent it to the different task tracker processes in each node. And after doing the activity, the task tracker report back to the job tracker, node and report on the job progress, send the data back that we call reduce or request new jobs. So, this is how the job tracker and task tracker work into this MapReduce engine. Now, you can just imagine how the functioning of these is taking place. So, the job tracker and this is going to be there. After that, you imagine here that the task of this is going to be done by in a different way. So, this is how the function of this job tracker will come. Now, Hadoop in the wild, the very important thing, you use how these things are happening. Hadoop is the used at most organizations that handle very big data. Already you are aware with such kind of sites, Yahoo, which is containing a very large amount of data, generating a huge data, and then it is storing, handling and processing that amount of data. You know about the different social sites, it could be like this, and Amazon, Netflix and all these. So, these are the different sites are going to be there, different applications are going to be there where Hadoop are in use. Imagine you be knowing, just take example of any social site where a large amount of data is stored every day, a large amount of data is being processed, and the very important, as we have just discussed, the data could be in a structured form or it could be a total unstructured data. Data types are also going to be entirely different. Again I am saying it could be in the form of text, it could be in the form of image, it could be in the form of audio, it could be form of video, it could be a movie also, it could be mix of all, even it could be like that you are putting some addresses, some kind of behavioral activities are going to be there, or some other way is also a form of data is being entered. What I mean to say, the different sets of data are being handled easily, and they are handled in such a good way that immediately if you require something, these kind of things can be reverted back to you. So, Hadoop are going to be used in this kind of environment where it could be a Yahoo or any other different kind of social sites or many other good places where big data is going to be in use. Now, another thing is going to be there, like we can see that the different examples of that where a large amount of data is being used in that way, that the Hadoop is being used at many good places where a large amount of data is going to be used in that way. Here you can see some more examples of the scale. As we have just mentioned, Yahoo's search webman runs on 10,000 core Linux cluster, and others are going to be there. And you can see here that the different kind of web search are going to be there. The Facebook which you are using, the Hadoop cluster hosts 100 plus petabytes. Imagine this is the oldest kind of information we are going, but every day it is going by anything like that. And as we have just mentioned, a very large amount of data is being processed, not only this kind of social site, but other social sites are also going to be there. So, you can just imagine a huge applications. Another main applications of the Hadoop which you can see here in the form of advertisement. mining user behavior to generate recommendations. Imagine what is happening now, different way of responding, generating the data. Now even you can store the data in a different behavioral form. You do can express, you do can generate, you do can store the data not in a usual way, you can give in a different form. And even based on that, some mining can be done, something can be generated, and that can be recommended also. So that is the basic use of these things are going to be there. Another very important applications are going to be there, searches, the group related documents. In the Hadoop, this kind of features are being used, where you can certainly take the details of the group and you can find out the related documents of that. The security, searches for uncommon patterns. We have mentioned earlier also, there are a lot of applications are going to be there of the big data. I do have given an example to you related to that. Say for example, sometimes you are just looking for a particular activity and immediately related to that you get all the information, all the files related to those particular activity, which may you look or which may you search for those documents. Without doing all those things, all the documents are coming in front of you. You may be surprised how these things have been immediately coming. The documents which you have stored a year back, now it is still just on the basis of memorization coming to you. The Hadoop is having that kind of feature, the programming concepts are going to be there. Automatically all the related items will come in front of you and you can make use of it. If you required, that option is also available to you. Imagine these are the few features I am talking about. Beyond that, every day a new searches are being coming, every day a new kind of research activities are coming. As I mentioned, it is an open source. You do can inbuild some of the features if you want to use. You can customize according to your requirement. You can add something additional if you want, because it is an open source. Now another, the security features also we have just mentioned, that searches for uncommon pattern. Sometimes the data which you have not for any specific purpose, that also gives some kind of behavioral activity to the system which is storing, and if required it may provide you some of the very important activity also. As we have just mentioned earlier also, especially in the fields of medical sciences or in many other fields, a lot of applications are being done, are being conducted, storing the information and try to detect something, try to mine something, whether something is common or uncommon, which may predict something new which will not happen till now. What I mean to say, these kind of different applications of Hadoop will definitely provide a great strength to the society, to the researchers, to the scientists, to the medical scientists, are not only to the environmentalist. As you know, you imagine lot of other kind of environmental hazards are being there. If you study them properly, you will be able to find out what was the actual problem. So these kind of activities, it is very difficult to study through the traditional databases or the facilities which are available till now. We do understand the big data can play a very important role in these kind of activity, where we can study lot of uncommon kind of patterns which may help us, which may give different kind of information to study about all those kind of things. So there are a few applications, something more is going to be there. In this case, you understand that the non real time large data set computing. The non-real time large data set computing is playing another very important role to detect something. Here NY Times was dynamically generating PDF articles from 1851 to 1922. They wanted to pre-generate statistically serve articles to improve performance. Imagine, sometimes it looks very hard. If you remember, if you do have all the information about the different kind of publications, different kind of way of delivery of lectures, different kind of way of talking, or you can see the all previous articles related to a particular item. What was happening at that time, what was the standard, what were the views at that time of people talking about different things at that time, and what is happening now. Historically, we can collect a lot of information related to that, which will definitely give an strength and provide us a lot of details thinking about that. It is not only in the area of education, it is not only in the area of communication, it is not only in area of the science, it is not only in the area of one environmental state, what are going to be there earlier and what is happening now. If you store all the patterns as the newspapers article which have been published 100 years back may reflect different kind of activity in the area of communication. Today we call mass communication. There are radios, there are TVs and other way of printing and all different kind of materials are available at that moment. But earlier people used to communicate in a different way. If we are able to store those patterns, so definitely that may give to an improvement how the delivery was taking place and how was the quality at that time, which kind of peoples are interacting at that time. In nutshell, we would like to say that all the previous information, previous patterns, previous articles, previous all papers, if put together, that definitely help is going to be there. For example, I have to give, you may be knowing about the Ramanujam very well, but still to look about his all paper, it is a very difficult task. Even in the libraries, you may not find all those things. Imagine if utilizing the big data concept, as there is one agency which is already doing a lot of research activities of scientists, mathematicians, medical science researchers and other things put together, that is going to be a great job, and this thing is possible only by utilizing this big data concept, which may definitely help to give a good research, a proper activity in almost all the field. Again, we would like to mention here that this does not mean that the big data is being used only in the information and communication technology. It can be helpful in every part of the life. We have discussed about that in the medical field or in any other field, the big data will definitely play an important role. As we have mentioned that they would like to generate a lot of big databases which may give up, or in another way you can provide you get help doing any other kind of activity. Using the Hadoop plus MapReduce running on EC2 or S3 converted 4 terabyte of tips into 11 million PDF article in 24 hours. Imagine we are discussing about the New York Times or any other papers. So, in a very limited time, each information, all the articles are being converted into this digitized form and all informations can be accessed easily. For example, you may be knowing that government is planning to put all the land reforms activity, all the documents related to land to be put to be digitized. Earlier it was looking that it is a very big task, although still it is a big task, but now utilizing the big data, this task become easier in the form of handling data. Each and every information can be stored properly. Security is going to be the another issue that can be secured properly, and government may take use of this easily. Imagine if the government is having all the information of the land utilization in the country, it will take very less time to take a decision which kind of land can be used for agriculture purpose, which kind of land can be used for industrialization, how much is the wasteland, how much other kind of land which is not in use at all, or which can be done more beneficiary form. Not only this, even who is the proper owner of each and everything. So, different kind of forgeries and all can be stopped. And what I mean to say, that utilizing the big data concept, many things can become in order. It is only one form. Other form of data, that a big number of data can be put together, or in other way it can be linked in a better way. You are already knowing government is planning to put Aadhaar card at each and every place. Some people are saying that it not be feasible in that way, but as you know, utilizing, you can see here the concept of big data, the Hadoop and all structure can be utilized to put each and everything in order. This same kind of application or one card may be useful to each and every places. Are in the different activity, not only the government, the other individuals are going to be also helpful in that way. In nutshell, we would like to say there is no part is left where the big data is not going to be used. Definitely some kind of the misconception could be there, but the use is maximum. People may be benefited much more when you are able to process a huge amount of data, and that too very much in time. In real sense, you can access those information, and Hadoop is there, and that is why I am telling you how the Hadoops are going to be used in every day of your life. The Hadoop in the wild, you can see here is a Facebook message. You get this kind of social site message, design requirements, intricate display of emails, SMS, chat messages between the pair of groups of the user, and a strong control over who users receive messages from. I do understand you are every day using the different social site. Just imagine you are getting many features at one very small place. As we have just mentioned, when you are opening a social site, you are in a position to send an SMS, you are in a position to chat with them, you can have an interaction with them, you are in a position to send mail to them, and you are in a position to in other way also. Imagine different kind of features are available you instantly. 4 or 5, 6 features are available to you instantly, and that too also you are getting almost free of cost. Imagine I am putting from different perspective the huge number of data which is being generated by this activity. Sometimes you may be knowing that people are performing parallel activity, they are chatting with many people at one time. Our point of view is here, not the applications which are being provided to you. What I mean to say, the huge amount of data is generated by you as an individual. You are sending lot of pictures, lot of text, emails, details of the paragraph, uploading lot of information, putting those information into your groups, into your close group, some of them to the public. just see the structural design of that. It looks very easy, and still if you want some new feature, they are ready to integrate with that also. So, that is the very important thing. Here what I would like to say here, that the designing of this particular software is going to be in such a way that it takes care of all the important features which have been inbuilt into that. It could be a different way of searching. Take an example, if you are looking for a social site, you can search about a particular names, particular activity, particular films, anything that, and that too not only by names. You remember, if you know about the email, search through the email, you may get lot of information. Search through activities, you may get lot of information. What I mean to say, almost each and every kind of things are built in here. And again I am putting, our objective is not that how much good programming have been done just to handle all those things. Our objective is that how easily the database is going to be handled. How much easily, how instantly you are getting all the information from this huge databases. Not only this, how much secure it is, although they are trying to build a very less in that way that things easily, nobody will get a kind of problem in handling, but still you are getting a lot of security. Take example, if you want to send your SMS to a particular guy, it will not go to anywhere else. Or if you want to send an email through that social site also, it will reach only to that person also. No one else can see it until or unless he is logged into your system. What I mean to say is, a huge data is being generated and huge data is being manipulated, stored every day, and you can multiply it. Usually people are every time they are running their social sites. So, not only this site, there are many sites are going to be there where lot of informations are being generated, are being handled, are being manipulated easily, and through the programming concepts these things are going to be moved. A strong control is also there to the receiving message and all. For example, if you receive a message, you will get the exact information from here you have got all these things. So, here we would like to tell you that in the Hadoop, how these kind of things are happening. Regarding the same social site, the situated from this production between 500 million people immediately after that. Stringent latency and optimum requirement. So, you can imagine this Hadoop is being used in these kind of different social site for manipulating, controlling, handling and doing all these kind of activities are going to be there. Another things are going to be there in the same way, the system requirements, the high write throughout, the cheap elastic storage and low latency. The basic objective of the Hadoop which you have just discussed, that the system requirements and the high write through output is going to be there, easily it can be handled. That is why this Hadoop is maximum in use. You can see the high consistency within a single data center, good enough to be there. You can see here how easily it can be handled here. The disk efficient sequential and random read performance. Here, as we have mentioned, that in all the social sites almost, you do have inbuilt a lot of good features. We are not going to cover each and every feature, but imagine, we do know that you can utilize these features for many good activities. Spreading the lot of good information related to the health, related to the environment, related to other activities. So storing again, handling all those data with Hadoop, it becomes too easy, and having the control over all the system with this structural Hadoop is going to be the energy. So this is one of the example of one of the social site where you are handling a huge amount of data. As we have mentioned about the other sites where a huge data is being generated, could be Yahoo, it could be a Google or any other forms you can engine, you can take it. You are searching and within a second or microsecond you get lakhs of information, not only thousands. The moment you write the words, still that framework is following you, and the moment you write 5 words, it will give the different website name which may coincide with you. Or if you are looking something exact, you write the things, you will get lakhs of website. Imagine how fast it is, and just imagine how easily you are able to understand things, how easily it understand to you. So that have been designed, accessing of the database, storing, handling, manipulating, simultaneously it is following you also. The moment you look or you search for the website, next moment when you will go, the computer will automatically follow you, and they will try to ask you whether you are looking for this or not. What I mean to say is, this Hadoop structure, this kind of software which is being used here is the most widely used software, which is an open source software, easily available. I have told about the architectures and features about all those things, and next we will talk about the details later on also.
With this note, thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. I believe that this was one of the productive session where we try to understand more about big data regarding where and how the big data, that is the data in huge amount, could be stored. Dear friends, if you have any queries or if you want to give your feedback regarding this lecture, then you can mail us at info.cc@nic.in. We would love to solve your queries the next time when Dr. U.S. Pandey visits our studio. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.